Good morning everyone. Today we will learn how to do the village poverty reduction plan, and in that we will learn how to do the SHG level data collection formats. We all are aware that the SHG level data is collected only for two components, which is the entitlement plan and the livelihood plan. So today in this format we will learn how to fill the entitlement plan and the livelihood plan. So I will move ahead and I'll show the schemes that I will be covering today in this tutorial. So there are around 10 schemes that have been mentioned here, but we will not be showing you all the schemes as it will be very long and tiring. So hence we will show you how to fill MG Narega job card, MG Narega work demand, old age pension under entitlement plan, and in livelihood plan we will show you all the three components, which is farming, animal husbandry and micro enterprise. After learning these three schemes, you will be more or less able to understand how to fill the format for all the other schemes like widow pension, SBM, health card, Ujjwala, etc. So here, as you can see, it is the entitlement plan and it's the SHG level data for MGNREGS job card. So here you can see that in the first column, there is the name of the SHG where we have written Rose SHG, assuming that the name of the SHG is Rose, which is from the VO Flower VO and which is from the GP Fullera GP. So here there are four columns: serial number, name of the beneficiary, name of the head of the household, and ward name and number. So in the name of the beneficiary column, we will write the name of the beneficiary, which here is Seema Biswas. Name of the head of the household will be the name of Seema Biswas' husband, father, or anyone who is head of the household, which is here Deepak Biswas. The ward name and number will be written here. So the ward name here is Daudpur and the number is 1. In a similar fashion, the second row has Parmeena Begum. So what you have to understand here is that Parmeena Begum is the beneficiary and the head of the household also has the name of Parmeena Begum. So what do you understand from it? It means that if Parmeena Begum is the beneficiary and she is a single woman living all alone and she is only the head of the family, or even if she lives with her family and she's the one who heads the family, her name will only come in the column of head of the household. So if the beneficiary is the head of the household, the name of the beneficiary and the head of the household will be same, and the ward name and number remains the same, which is Daudpur ward name and the ward number being 1. So this was for Rose SHG. Now we'll go on and fill the same for Lotus SHG. Lotus SHG also belongs to Flower VO and the name of the GP is Fullera. Here again, name of the beneficiary, name of the head of the household, ward name and number. Here there are three beneficiaries. First one being Rehana Khatun, head of the household being Rafiq Islam, who lives in Naya Gaon and the ward number is 2. Seema Begum, head of the household being Sushil, ward name being Naya Gaon and the ward number being 2. So similarly, we will fill in for all the columns. Now I will go on and show you how to fill the data for MGNREGS work demand. So I'll show you for individual work demand, and in a similar way you can also fill for community work demand. So here again we have taken SHG Rose, name of the VO flower and name of the GP being Fullera. Now what we have to keep in mind is that the work demand column is a bit different from the column that we have seen previously. Here there are in total 7 columns, as you can see, and I will explain it to you what all these columns entail. So the serial number column will have the serial number. Name of the work will be the name of the work which the beneficiary wants to do under MG Narega. Details of the work will capture the details of the work in terms of where the work has to be done, what will be the kind of work, and its location. Name of the beneficiary will be the beneficiary who wants to do this work. Here, as we can see, that it's written in the order of priority. What do we mean by that? When we say in the order of priority, we need to understand that there are few schemes which are not universal in nature. That means a Gram Panchayat might not be able to give work to all the members who have demanded for it. Hence, the name in the SHG level data set should be written in a prioritized manner. That means Charulata Hansta from Rose SHG is the person who is most in need of this work. Hence, her name has come at the top order. That means she belongs to serial number 1. While Kabita Kumari is somebody who needs the work lesser than that of Charulata Hansta. Hence, her name is below Charulata Hansta. Hence, it is important that the SHG people do a discussion and understand what is the situation of each member and write the name of beneficiary in a prioritized order. In the in the column of name of the head of the household, again, it will be the name of the head of the household, which can be the beneficiary herself. It can also be her father, her husband, or anybody else in the house. So in case of Charulata Hansta, it is Mohan Hansta, the ward name and number being Nayagaon 2. Now there is a very new column that has been added here, which is rank for prioritization, and it says to be filled during GP consolidation and prioritization meeting. The facilitator who is filling this format has to keep in mind that this column during the SHG level data entry has to be kept empty, as it has to be filled during the GP level consolidation when the data sheet of all the SHGs from all the VOs of a panchayat are brought together. It is a very important thing to note. The facilitator in any scenario should not be filling these columns. Now I will show you one more example from Lotus SHG as to how we fill the MGNREGS work demand. Serial number 1, name of the work, construction of poultry shed, details of the work demanded, house of Raj Sharma, ward number 3. Beneficiary who wants to do this work is Pooja Sharma. Name of the head of the household is Raj Sharma, and the ward name is Mokpara 3. Here again, the rank column has been kept empty because it has to be filled during the GP consolidation and prioritization meeting. Now I will move on and I'll show you how to fill the SHG level data for NSAP. I have only taken old age pension for an example. In a similar way, you can fill the data for widow pension as well as disability pension. So the name of the SHG is Rose, the VO being Flower, and the GP being Fulera. Here there are 5 columns. Serial number being the first one, name of SHG member, family member eligible for pension being the second one. Here again it is written in the order of priority. So what we have to see is that the first name in the column of the name of SHG member, family member eligible for pension should entail the name of the person who is most eligible to get this old age pension. Most eligible in the sense who has the need to get it in a very immediate basis. So I would like to give you an example. If Deepak Biswas is somebody who is a landless laborer, who has 2 children and whose wife has some sort of mental illness, then it is important that Deepak Biswas should be given the old age pension before Parmeena Begum, whose husband is doing a job as a mechanic and has one son who is also working in one of the schools. Thus, it is important that the prioritized order is kept in mind while filling the SHG level data sets. Now, name of the SHG member column will have the name of the SHG member whose relative or who herself wants to demand for the old age pension. So here SHG member is Seema Biswas, and Deepak Biswas can be her husband or her father who wants to avail the old age pension. Name of the head of the household being Deepak Biswas, ward name and number being Daudpur 1, and again the rank for prioritization has to be kept blank. This has to be filled only during the GP meeting when the GP consolidation and prioritization meeting is taking place. Now, one thing which the facilitator has to keep in mind throughout while filling the entitlement data set for SHG is that each and every member should be asked to bring their eligible voter ID, Aadhaar ID cards, or ration cards so that the data that is being filled here is the correct data and is in the order of the eligibility. In a scenario where a person is 60-year-old and wants to get an old age pension but does not have any voter ID, ration card ID, or Aadhaar ID, the VO or the SHG member, which is the rose SHG and the flower VO, should ensure that this person's name is written in the format, and the VO and SHG try to help this person in getting the eligibility help in getting the individual documents required for eligibility of old age pension. Now I'll show you one more example, which is name of the SHG Lotus, VO Flower, name of the GP Fulera, serial number being 1, name of SHG member, family member eligible for pension, Iramul Islam, name of the SHG member, Rehmina Khatun, name of the head of the household, Rehmina Khatun. So SHG member is Rehmina Khatun and she is only the head of the household. Ward name and number being Naya Gaon. And again, the rank of prioritization column has been left blank here as it has to be filled during the GP consolidation and prioritization meeting. So there were 2 or 3 things which were very important, which the facilitator has to keep in mind while filling up these sheets, is that all the SHG members should be informed prior to the meeting to bring their valid ID cards so that the eligibility is kept in mind and the data is written in a correct format. If a person is eligible, that is he or she is above 60-year-old but does not have a valid ID, then the SHG and VO member should write his or her name and should also ensure that this person gets these valid ID proofs so that he can avail the pension. Thirdly, all the demands should be written in a prioritized manner, that is, wherever the name of the beneficiary is coming, the order should be prioritized. The person who is in the need of it most should be written at the top row of the call table. Now we will move on to learn how to do the livelihood plan. I have already told you how to do the few schemes under the entitlement plan, and in a very similar way you can do it for all the other schemes that are mentioned in the format. In the livelihood plan of the SHG sheet, first we will do individual farming. We have again taken SHG rows from flower VO and the GP's Fulera. We have again 7 columns here: serial number, name of the SHG member in order of priority, name of the head of the household, ward name and number, farming on own land or lease land, type of support required, and rank. So name of SHG member, here the name of the SHG member will come who wants to take up some individual farming. So in rows SHG, Shilpi Das wants to take up individual farming, and head of the household is Ashok Das, which can be her husband or father. The ward name and number has to be the ward name and number of the SHG member who wants to do individual farming. Then we have to mention whether the individual wants to do farming on her own land or leased land. Own land means that the person has his or her own land, and leased land means they might take the land on rent and want to do farming on that land. So Shilpi Das wants to do farming on leased land. Now for farming, Shilpi Das might not have a lot of money to invest. So here we have to write the type of support that Shilpi Das needs to start farming as a livelihood. So the example here being loan. In a similar way, here Prerna Sahu also wants to take up individual farming from Rose SHG. Head of the household is Suraj Sahu. She also lives in Daudpara and the ward number is 1. The farming is done on she wants to do the farming on her own land, and the support that she needs is loan. Now we come down and see what is the status of Lotus SHG. Lotus SHG from Flower BO. Here in the column of name of SHG member, Ghani Kumawat, whose head of the household is Ramesh Kumawat and who lives in Nayagaon, wants to do individual farming on leased land, and she wants to take subsidy and also training. Now subsidy can be subsidy for an equipment, it can be a subsidy for seeds, it can be subsidy for fertilizer, and training can be any sort of training in terms of how to use a fertilizer, how to sow the seed, and so on and so forth. So these kinds of support can also be written in the type of support column. And again, as it is an SHG level format, the rank of prioritization in all these cases have to be kept blank. Similar fashion, we have filled the format for Nilofar Nargis. Now I'll show you how to do the SHG sheet for group farming. Again here, there are 7 columns. For Rose SHG, the number of SHG members in the group is 3. That means under Rose SHG, there is a group who wants to take up group farming. So name of SHG members of the group and name of SHG of respective members have also to be written. So for example, Lakshmi Wagmare is from Rose SHG and she wants to take up group farming. Sonali Nair is also from Rose SHG. She also wants to take up group farming. Shilpi Mahato is also from Rose SHG and she also wants to take up group farming. What has to be kept in mind is that the name of SHG member, which is Lakshmi Wagmare, Sonali Nair, Shilpi Mahato, has to be written, and the name of SHG to which these members belong has to be also written, because there can be scenarios when these 3 members might not belong to the same SHG and they might also want to do the group farming with somebody who is not from their own SHG. In that case, it will be easy at the VO level consolidation to strike off the names that are coming as a repetition. Ward name and number of any one SHG member in the group can be written. Now, as there are 3 SHG members who want to take up group farming, the ward name and number for any one SHG member can be written for reference. Whether they want to do farming on their own land or leased land has to be written. So here, this group of Lakshmi Wagmare wants to do it on their own land. The support they require is loan. And again, as it is an SHG level sheet, the rank for prioritization column has to be left blank. Now for in Lotus SHG, name of the VO being Flower and Fulera GP, I would like to highlight here one of the mistakes so that it becomes easy for you to understand that what are the mistakes that we have to avoid. So here, number of SHG members in the group is 3. Now here we had to write the name of SHG members. So Mamta Chaube, Champa Devi, Surbi Nawaz has been written, and the name of SHG had also to be written. But the facilitator who went to the Lotus SHG did not write that. So it will become really difficult during the VO consolidation to understand that these members belong to Lotus SHG or they belong to any other SHG from where they want to form a group and start group farming. So these are the mistakes that we have to avoid. In the column ward name and number of any one SHG member who wants to take up group farming can be written. They want to do farming on their leased land and the type of support they require is loan. Now I will show you how to fill the SHG sheet for animal husbandry. Here first we will do it for individual animal husbandry, that is for the SHG members who want to take up individual animal husbandry. So here again there are 7 columns, serial number being the first. In the column of name of SHG member, we will write the name of the SHG member who is interested in doing individual farming. Again, it has to be written in the order of priority, that is the person who needs it the most has to be given the first rank here. Name of head of the household, that is Seema Biswas's head of the household member's name has to be written, which is Deepak Biswas. Ward name and number, Daudpara. Category of animal husbandry, that is what kind of animal that they want to do animal husbandry with. So here they have written cattle and goatery. So the type of support, they want 2 cows and 4 goats. Again, Parmeena Begum, who is herself the head of the household, who also lives in Daudpur, wants to do poultry, and the support she requires is a poultry shed and loan. As it is a SHG level sheet, the rank column has to be kept blank. We will learn how to do it in one more SHG, that is Lotus SHG from Flower VO. Here Sulekha Khan, who needs to do animal husbandry and whose head of the household member is Salman Khan, who belongs to Naya Gaon, wants to take up piggery and cattle, and the support she requires is 4 pigs and 1 cow. The rank column again here has to be left blank. Similarly, for group animal husbandry, we have to write for rows SHG the number of SHG members in a group, which is again 3. What we have to keep in mind is that in most of the cases, the group will be 3 or more than 3 members. However, the facilitator should and must check it with their state teams. Name of SHG member of the group and name of SHG of respective member has to be written down. Ward name and number of any one SHG member has to be written. Category of animal husbandry is poultry and the group requires loan to start this animal husbandry. Again, the rank column has to be left blank. Similarly, for Lotus SHG, number of SHG members in a group are 3. The name of SHG members of the group and the name of their SHGs have been written here. Pooja Sharma from Lotus SHG, Leela Babu from Lotus SHG, Megha Rosario, who is a non-SHG member. So you can see that the groups can also be made from members who are not from the SHG fold. Ward name and number of any one SHG member. So here what we have to keep in mind is that Megha Rosario, who is not an SHG member, her ward name and number cannot be written here. The ward name and number needs to be written either for Pooja Sharma, who is from Lotus SHG, or Leela Babu, who is from Lotus SHG. They want to take up fishery for which they require loan. In a very similar way, we will learn how to do even individual micro enterprise under livelihood. So again, here we will have 7 columns, serial number being 1, the name of SHG member in the order of priority, Charulata Hansta, name of the head of the household of the SHG member who wants to take up individual micro enterprise, Mohan Hansta, ward name and number of the SHG member, Daudpur 1, the type of ME she wants to take up, that is bakery, and the support that is required, that is loan and training. The rank column in the SHG sheet has to be kept blank. Again, Manju Gujjar is the SHG member from Rose SHG. Head of the household is Santosh Gujjar. Ward name and number is Daudpur 1. She wants to do the ME in the form of a kirana shop and she requires loan. So in the type of support required, anything ranging from loan, training, seeds, equipment, subsidy for equipments can be listed down so that it becomes easier for the people from different departments and even panchayats to understand what the member wants to do and what sort of support they want to have in order to take up that activity. In the Lotus SHG from Flower VO, the SHG member who wants to take up individual micro enterprises Leela Babu, the head of the household is Jyotish Babu, the ward name and number is Naya Gaon, the ME that she wants to take up is pottery and they want loan and market support. Again, the rank column has to be left blank. For group micro enterprise, we will again take examples from Rose SHG and Lotus SHG. Here again, there are 7 columns. The number of SHG members who are in a group, which is 4. The name of SHG members and the name of SHG. So here Sheila from Rose, Parmeena Begum from Rose, Neha Iyer non-SHG, Preeti Kamble non-SHG. So as I have said before, even non-SHG members can come up with SHG members and might want to do a group micro enterprise or a group farming or a group animal husbandry. Ward name and number of any one SHG member of the group has to be written, which is Daudpur here. The type of ME they want to do is beauty parlor, for which they want loan or training. The column for rank has to be left blank. In a similar way, for Lotus SHG, 4 members are in a group who want to take up a group ME. Pooja Sharma, Rehmeena Khatun, Sonam Sharma, Harita K. Few of them are from SHG fold and one of them is not from the SHG fold. The SHG ward name and number of any one SHG member has to be written. So here it is Naya Gaon. We have to remember that all the 4 members' ward name or number need not be written. Any one member's ward name or number will suffice. The type of ME they want to take up is restaurant and the support they require is training or loan. The rank column has to be left blank. So I have taught you now the 2 kinds of plan that we are going to make at the SHG level, which is the entitlement plan and the livelihood plan. I have also given the kinds of mistakes that can happen and which we have to avoid, and the kind of people who can make a group, what is the minimum requirement to keep a group, and what are the things that the facilitator has to keep in mind while filling up this data set. I will now teach you how to do VO consolidation in another set of video for the same SHGs under the flower VO and for the same schemes that I have done here so that it is easy for you to understand. By referring to this video, you will be able to fill up the formats for all the other schemes that have been listed in the format. Thank you so much.